Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We are at the main event of WrestleMania 6 for the watch along of Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. I thought at the very top of the show when I had to start it after watching the ad in order to get to it, I was trying to feel the emotions of how big 1991 WWF was. And Jesse Ventura opens the show by saying, he's been to the Super Bowl, he's been to the World Series, he's even seen the Rolling Stones, and nothing compares to WrestleMania. Skydome, I went to it last fall when I went to Canada, when I was in Toronto for my buddy Ravi's wedding. They got the dome closed as we see the look of Warrior running to the ring, getting up onto the ropes. We can see the roof up top. This is a brand new building somewhere in this time. The Blue Jays, they really got good in 1991, or did they get good in 92 and 93, I think is when it was. That's when really learned a lot about the Sky Dome and, watching the Blue Jays play baseball and stuff like that. And when I was there watching the baseball game, I really was trying to figure out how the heck they actually put, the WrestleMania 6 into that place. Just, that's a lot of fans. Just, the aisleway is huge. Hogan's coming to the ring. He's got the headband cut out of the t-shirt here, as I've seen for the last few big ones. But as they were showing the build-up to this match, how we got here, I saw that Hogan actually had the bandana that I remember that was red with the yellow Hulk Rules letterings on there. I guess they really didn't have signs. When you look at WrestleMania 6, the size of the signs that the people had in the crowd was just beyond crazy. Of course, there's tons of Hulkamania foam fingers. But somebody just has a full-on Hulk Hogan life-size standout cutout. Two people are holding what looks like ads for the classic wrestling cards. Back in the day, not like classic cards in they're old, as in the brand classic. Somebody's got a Hulk Hogan, somebody's got an Ultimate Warrior. Those signs look like they're 2 feet by 3 feet, at least 3 by 5, something like that. They're huge. I don't even know what that face is for Hulk Hogan, but it's a long rectangle. They had to have just taken it from somewhere in the arena. And we're back. I apologize. Right before we get into the ring, this is the sporadic Peacock ads. That's on me for not going, paying the extra $5 and going ad free. But at least the iPhone now has the pause feature on videos, which I think is really, really cool. But this is the match that we never thought we would see. As I've talked about in the last few videos, we're coming out of the no holds barred era of Hulk Hogan. There are people who do believe that WrestleMania 6, the early plans were going to be Hulk Hogan versus Zeus as the ultimate payoff and the end off to that movie. Zeus, he worked SummerSlam in the main event. He worked Survivor Series. I believe he was in the main event there in the tag match against Hogan. He got disqualified or counted out to protect him, and then they did the no holds barred, the match in the movie Steel Cage with Hogan and Beefcake against Zeus and Savage. And then he was in early plans to be in the Royal Rumble 1991 and just wasn't there. He just got taken out, replaced. They never made mention to it. Just 1 week he was in the video of superstars to be in the Rumble, and then the next he wasn't. He just faded out. I know that Zeus was actually working house shows, and maybe they just saw the writing on the wall and they said, hey, this isn't gonna work out. There's no more. I mean, the movie didn't do that well for WWF standards. It definitely didn't do what they thought it was. So maybe they just had to write everything off after the Christmas pay-per-view with Zeus. But how they got to this match, I don't know. Babyface versus babyface. But maybe Hogan was getting the offers to make Mr. Nanny and other movies and thought that his days in wrestling actually was done, and Vince saw the Ultimate Warrior as the passing of the torch guy. And I don't know why they wouldn't have had like a transitional champion like they did with Bob Backlund, Iron Sheik, and Hulk Hogan. And then had like somebody like Earthquake. I mean, like that probably wouldn't have been the greatest transitional champion, but at this time period, it was believable that Earthquake could crush Hogan. Earthquake and Dino Bravo were definitely the two biggest heels that put this match together. Since Mr. Perfect and the Genius lost a lot of juice, but they were doing a Hogan versus Perfect build-up at the time. But Royal Rumble 1990, definitely one of the greatest spots of all time. Warrior is putting Hogan into the mat with the test of strength, just standing tall on top of him. These matches, they all had tests of strength to kind of like buy some time in the main event of them doing something, but in the end, now we know they weren't really doing anything. But we were going crazy for it as a kid. Now Hogan's coming back. He's actually getting up off his feet, which doesn't make sense when somebody's pushing their weight down on top of you, how you're able to fight up after you fought your way down. But, they came down to Hogan and Warrior were the only two in the ring at the Rumble, and they kind of locked eyes and looked at each other, and, people just went crazy as they threw each other off of the ropes and crisscrossed, and they didn't really do anything other than looking at each other. But I think that was the gauge that Vince pointed at and was like, "This is our guy. This is our WrestleMania match." I think that was the final test that people would believe that he could stand up. And this being, babyface versus babyface, something that split the crowd right down the middle. I know by the build-up to WrestleMania 8, which is 2 years later, when Hogan gets eliminated at the Royal Rumble by Sid, I don't think people were really cheering for Sid as much as they were cheering that Hogan wasn't going to win the championship, and they were going to get something different. I wonder if they really believed it at this time at WrestleMania 6. But coming out of the Royal Rumble, I think they did a Saturday night's main event against Mr. Perfect and the Genius. How you have this dream team of Warrior and Hogan, and you put them against the Genius, who was a wrestler, yes, but, more often than not, he was a manager. It would have been like putting him against somebody in Mr. Fuji or somebody in Bobby Heenan. And then from there on out, like Dino Bravo and the Earthquake were like the two biggest heels in the company at the time. The Earthquake wasn't even the Earthquake that you think of around 1990 when he's wearing the blue. He's actually just wearing brown. Or is that 91? No, 91 they're in Madison Square Garden, so it is 90. But Dino Bravo and Earthquake 2-on-1ing Hogan, and Warrior comes down to make the save They do that for each other a few times. I know one time Warrior knocked Hogan down. Another time he was bouncing off the ropes as Hogan got up. He looked, and Warrior definitely looked like he was about to clothesline Hogan. I don't know if that was a moment where they were thinking that they were just getting scared, a babyface for babyface. They needed some sort of a heel or a babyface in the match. This match right here was on like a compilation tape I got that somebody on the internet made, that I made a tape with, and it was just I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember that it had this match. It had other WrestleMania main events, title changes. I know that the Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels Screwjob match was on there. But I know that when I brought that tape, it wasn't like I was just taking wrestling around with me. Because definitely in my friend group of like dudes that like hung out and we would all go to my friend Case's house and spend the night, I wasn't like bringing the tape of like, you want to watch some wrestling, guys? Because I know that would have like made me a complete and total loser. But I know I was the one of everybody that watched wrestling a lot. Even as wrestling got heated, none of my friends were real wrestling fans. I know that when we went to the Georgia Dome to see Goldberg versus Hogan, my friend Case came with me. That's one of my wrestling memories of like having a friend along with me. But this was a match that they would actually ask me to put on, that I think they had memories of watching this when they cared about wrestling and knew that it was a good match. A lot of people have said that Hogan wasn't a great wrestler, and a lot of people point to like, when Hulk Hogan went to Japan, he was a different style of wrestler, and you can see with his match against Legion of Doom how good he really was. At this match, they're doing wrestling in there. I mean, I was saying like they're really not doing a lot when they're doing like the test of strength and things like that, but to me this is wrestling. Like, it's not Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle. It's not that style of wrestling. But when it comes to like what the 80s and 90s were before like ECW changed the game and like the Lucha Libre style took over Monday Nitro. This is what it was, and this is what we watched and we liked. This is good. I mean, he definitely has the crowd in the palm of his hands. He knows when he needs to do something, and he knows when he needs to lay back and just feel the moment. I mean, I think Hogan honestly was, if you don't want to call him one of the best wrestlers of all time, he definitely was one of the best entertainers of all time. It's definitely a lot different than being an actor where you're reading a script. I mean, like, yeah, they planned out what they were going to do, but on a dime, Hogan and Warrior, if it wasn't going exactly the way they wanted to, they knew what they needed to do to get them back to where they wanted them. Right now, it's Hogan in charge, and he's wearing the Warrior down. Slammed him into his knee on the way down right there. Hogan's in control. He's trying to get a 3 count, but he only got a 2. He's, doing the thing where he's fighting with Hebner, trying to tell him what his count was. Hogan is choking him and choking him down. Man, oh man. I remember as a kid, like, seeing this match and, see Warrior actually take a beating. I know that we've seen him lose because at WrestleMania 5, he lost the Intercontinental Championship, which set up the feud between him and Rick Rude. But like this match, he actually gets wore down, and the face paint comes off, and you actually see Jim Hellwig in the ring as the paint comes off, and just like, not that it like made him like a normal dude, but you felt like, when the paint came off, he didn't have the powers. He might have had the muscles and the size and all that, but it he wasn't able to call to the gods like he does like when he's doing this. I know that like the Edge and Christian and the destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD that came out 2005 or whenever it was. They made fun of those promos, but it's not like he really knew what the hell he was talking about. Or I'll tell you honestly, as a kid, I thought the Ultimate Warrior was like an Indian, like kind of like Tatanka, like calling to the gods. That's kind of like what I'm talking about. I felt like that's where he got his powers from, and he was just like trying to summon everybody to help him. I mean, I don't know what I thought I was gonna happen, but we all know now that Hogan passed the torch to try and go make Mr. Nanny, and I think he was trying to find a way to transition out of wrestling. I don't know what changed between 6 and 7. Maybe he got in Vince's ear, and he was able to tell him like the whole Warrior thing isn't working. I know SummerSlam 91, the Warrior gets fired for trying to, get more money and say that he wants like a Hulk Hogan like deal, and he holds him up for some money for some t-shirts that he thought he was owed or something like that. And but that's after they take the title off of him, because that's Royal Rumble 91. And then because of Operation Desert Storm, the main event, Hogan wins. And it's not the first time, it's not the first Rumble that they would say he goes on, the winner goes to WrestleMania. But Hogan's talking about going to WrestleMania to fight Sergeant Slaughter in the promo as it goes off the air, talking about the dropping the bombs over in Iraq. So I don't really know what changed with Warrior other than the Gates started going down. I don't really get that, because Warrior was over. People loved him. Maybe with the video that Jem made, talking about the Operation Desert Storm and going to war. Maybe people really were scared and not wanting to spend money, and that's why they weren't going to wrestling shows and things like that. I don't remember the world being like that at that time. But then again, I was a 10-year-old idiot who didn't know anything and believed what the news told him and this, that, and the other. Jim's not that much older than me. He is older. But it's just not the way that I remember the world at the time. I know I made a video about that, but I don't really remember what I even called that video or what I was talking about. But I know I was talking about Operation Desert Storm when we were going to war over there. Now the paint is fully off. And even the guy in the stands wearing a Hulkamania tank top is powering up for Warrior, like he wants to see the big slam. Cover? No, didn't even get a 1. Not even a 1. He's holding up 2, but I didn't even see a 1 count from Hebner. That whole kicked out fast. Now the bear hug. Choking him out. I wish I could read what that... Somebody's holding up like a sheet almost with 2 sticks on the end. It's definitely something that's painted onto a sign. I think the last words on it is Ultimate Warrior. I'm sure they're getting yelled at to put it down. But then again, front row seats to WrestleMania 6 were probably, what, $40 back in the day? I love to see those old ads for WWF shows that says like ticket prices, and it's like from $5 to $20, and you're like, I could have got a front row seat for $20. How did we not sit there every single time we went? There it is. Hogan's getting choked down. He's trying to make some leverage by putting his hand in between his body and the Warriors because it's just he ain't got nothing left in the lungs. I think we saw that in the Andre match at WrestleMania 3. Maybe that video I made talking about Gem was about WrestleMania 7. Trying to put 100,000 people into the the Olympic Stadium, but it's called the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Maybe that's what it was about. Hogan's getting choked down. Let's see. WrestleMania 7. Coliseum. The story of WWE's attempt to fill the LA Coliseum. March 25th, 2025. That was the video that I was talking about. Oh, he's putting it up for a third time. Hulk put the finger up. Nope, not today. Hulk's hulking up. Going after the hair of the Warrior. Punch to the forehead. Punch to the face. Punch to the face. Punch, 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 punch. Oh. Coming off the ropes. Oh, Warrior took out the ref. Hogan went down. Warrior ran right into Hebner, and Hebner is down. Warrior's going out of the ring. He's going up to the top rope. You don't really think of Warrior as somebody on the ropes. Boom. Dropped the fist right down on the back of the neck of Hogan, taking him down. Warrior going to the top again. Opposite corner. Hulk coming towards him. Drops the axe right down on the head again. Warrior's pumping up, pumping up. Warrior's running to the ropes. Warrior did a dive and he missed everything. It's like, I don't even think Hulk got out of the way. He just let him go right by. Now Hogan needs a ref and he's looking around. He ain't got one. He's rolling 1, 2. That's a way fast count, Hogan. I know that's the way you want somebody to count. But he's pounded the mat 6 times. Definitely would have got a 3 count. Warrior's down. Now Warrior's trying to wake up Hebner. Is he trying to get a ref out of the back? He's completely forgot about the Warrior who's got up. Back suplex. Dropping Hogan down. Now Warrior is covering Hogan. 1, 2, 3. Nothing. Hebner's showing life. He wants to roll over. He's grabbing for the top rope. Now Hebner is come over. He's trying to drag his way. Oh! Warrior straight punch to the ref. 1, 2. Kick out. Okay. But at least now we got a ref back into it. But Warrior's pissed that the ref wasn't around. He knew he was down. He's the one who took him out. Roll up from behind. 1, 2. Easily could have been a 3. 2. Kick out. Warrior. The ref just wasn't in position as Warrior got rolled up. One of the only roll-ups in Hogan's career that I can think of like that. Big punches. Off the ropes. Elbow. But Warrior falls out of the ring. I don't know why Hogan didn't wait in the middle for the big boot that we've seen millions of times in his career. Now they're fighting out on the outside. Both of them trying to ram the other's head into the ring post. I think at this point, just everything's out the window. Everything's not working, and they need to see what they need to do to go over the top. Oh! Hogan just ate the post. Warrior threw Hogan into the post. So I guess that is some heel stuff out of Warrior's bag, but I think this has gone on longer than I think both guys thought it was going to be. They don't know what they need to do to beat the other guy. Warrior's warrioring up. I don't know what. Powering up? I think that's what we called it back in the day. But now Warrior's starting to lose the tassels. You can see a few of them in the ring. I don't know if they've come off his arms or his legs. Here's the big press slam on Hulk. Up over his head. Dropped him down. Big splash. But now, Hogan's on his chest. He's going to roll him over. All right. 1, 2. Kick out. Hogan's not even letting that get close to a 3 count. He's just straight kicking out right now. Warriors, that's where he messed up. Just punched him in the head. Now Hulk is hulking up. Coming up off his feet. 2. No. Not going to work. Not today. Full hulking up mode now. Boom. Just deadpanned it. You messed up. You messed up. Boom. 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 Going into the ropes. Big boot. Can we get it? Leg drop. No! Big splash. 1, 2. Oh, even I thought Hogan kicked out before the 3. Damn. That is big boo-boo face from Hulkamania. He's looking up at the... He is definitely making this all about him. Hogan's moved into center court as fast as he can. Hebner handed the Intercontinental Championship to Warrior. Warrior had it for a second, but it looks like he put it down before he hit the ropes. So it's laying in the ring. He's got the yellow IC. Why did Hebner have the Intercontinental title, but not the WWF Championship? Because it was champion for champion. It was either one, but now Hogan's walked over to the Fink. He's grabbed the WWF Winged Eagle. He's making his way in there. He's taking his time, though. He's looking around at the crowd. He's putting the belt on his shoulder. Hogan knows what he's doing. He's making this more about him than he is about Warrior. I think he's trying to make the moment bigger. I mean, Hogan's held that belt since 84, 85. He won it in December of 84, I think. Hogan's holding the belt out for Warrior. Now he's raising the hand. He's giving him the finger poke. They're hugging each other. Big hug. Now Warrior is lifting Hogan's hands. I remember at one point thinking that Hogan was going to be the Intercontinental Champion. I guess what the plan was is that Warrior would continue on with the WWF Championship. He would be the champion, being the main guy, but to bring in houses, they were going to use Hogan as the legend, the face of the WWF that made you still want to go. He was still going to have big enough feuds that you cared about him, but he wasn't going to have to be on every house show, every Saturday night's main event. Just use him on the big super cards when they needed a pay-per-view and he wasn't, doing something else. I guess it didn't work. I don't really know. And we know from Warrior holding up Vince, saying that he wanted more money, that Hogan was still getting paid more. when he was around. Warrior was the dude. He was never my dude because he beat Hogan. But I understand why people love the guy. Damn. I guess you have to go to WrestleMania 7 to have the only main eventer alive still, and that's Sergeant Slaughter. That's a bad way to put it, I guess. But, man, the Sky Dome just looks so freaking huge. Looks the size of, like, a city when they pull back that camera and you see, like, the whole thing. They're blowing the fireworks up inside of there. The ring looks so small. Congratulations, Warrior, Hogan. One hell of a time. I don't know when I'm sitting down to watch more of these, but Hogan vs. Warrior, that was one hell of a ride.